Hey, sleepy face.
Hey, welcome to the last episode of D&D Forging Paths. We're going to be wrapping up tonight and then later doing a Q&A. So if you're only interested in the Q&A, I guess show up an hour later. Or whatever. I'm not your parents.
You're not my mom.
Do what you want. And that's a general endorsement for most people, so more people should do what they want.
Oh, there's that thing called money that keeps us from doing the things that we want.
More people should do what they want anyway. Oh yeah, Wesley, Don's mom would like you to eat all of the watermelon.
Sounds just like
That's right over there. Turn around.
I'm gonna do it.
I mean, she told us to tell you, eat a watermelon.
I agree. I dearly love watermelon, so I probably will eat all the watermelon.
Okay, well, open invitation. Do it.
I don't know how watermelon juice tastes in mine. I'm gonna try it.
Oh yeah, I'm sick, so don't bother the...
Don't ask me any questions.
Yeah. If I seem weird, that's why. Hello, David. Thank you for joining.
Hello. Yep.
All right, so like I said, first we're going to go ahead with the wrap-up. And that is basically determining epilogue stuff, which will be easy this time around since most of y'all are dead, unless, except for the grace of Addis. So that said, we're going to start off, Wesley. What would Amadeus do at this point?
Well, first he would determine where he is.
Okay. Like just traveling in one direction?
Until he reached civilization.
You reach Gilzos. It's the northwestern city.
Well, how much does he remember about what happened? Up until what point?
Up until he remembers up to the point where he bit Bandisaur's head off.
So the best part.
Yes.
Nice. So the
Well,
best.
he remembers his friends or
Biting
his
it,
team.
yes.
Yeah. He would make his way to the. He would make his way to the chalice.
Cool.
Does he know that Addis is not dead?
I
I don't think he does.
don't think he does either.
So all of them are dead in his mind, I guess.
Yeah, you'd basically have to roll to remember to see whether or not you remember that about that cloak of his.
Another dice or red sheet. So he would probably make his way to the chalice straight away.
Okay. Speaking of, Addis.
Yes.
Addis makes it first to the chalice, correct?
He would have teleported to the guild house.
Okay. Yeah, you head to the guild house and then you drop some bodies down.
Thank you.
I let the bodies hit the floor. Yeah.
Damn
Okay.
it! No.
Normally I would scream, but I can't do that right now. Okay. And what does he do from there?
He would see if any of the members had those resurrection stuff. And then if not, he would go to the other fort.
The greasiest.
The bestest.
What'd you get?
Fort Chalice.
So some of the tinfoil stuck to the bottom of the pizza. Tinfoil does not feel good pressed up against fillings.
Oof.
Awesome. What were you saying, Taylor?
Ketchup.
He would ask around the guild house to see if they had any means of resurrecting his comrades.
I'm
And
going
then,
even on a secret. Brandon's leadership score was enough to allow him up to level 2 followers.
then he'd teleport to Fort Chalice.
I mean, they could earn the means, but it would take them probably the better part of a year.
Addis doesn't have that long.
Not like I'm going anywhere.
Well, actually, but I digress. So you go to Fort Chalice?
Yes,
Okay. Do you tell them about what happened?
I do.
Okay. Oh, before you left the guild house, the guild members weep and then decide that they must build a statue in Makana's honor.
Of which
Weird.
Greece.
Well, probably out of stone, but
Greece. It's gonna be Greece.
one of the newer followers that came while you guys were out is a stonemason, though. So
It's not that specific. Useful, but specific.
yeah, no, like when I was gonna keep a list of followers that Brandon had at the guild house of just like different occupations, but you guys never got back around to there, and he never utilized the follower system except for like that one time.
At band camp?
Yes,
That she was like,
Explosion.
and probably Kaiserath off in the background, like
it's like cooler Jesus or whatever that statue was called.
cool Jesus.
Big afro or everything.
Dogma. I think it was
Alright.
Dogma. Dogma?
So you
Bloody
want
Jesus.
to Chalice, yeah?
Yeah, I tell the Chalice what happened.
He drives there.
Okay.
Mhm.
The members of the Chalice tell you that since Amadeus would probably give the okay for it anyway, they can pay for they can give you one raised dead for free.
Ooh.
And they're going to go ahead and take Fio's remains and give him a resurrection half off,
Hey.
100,000 rupees.
25,000. Yeah. So in short order, Fio rejoins the land of the living.
Yay. Good job, Addis. It's the one time that you actually did something right.
Thank you. The one time.
Just the once.
But only once.
I would say we should just cast reincarnate on everybody. That would have been hilarious.
If Kaiser were still alive, they would have been like, "Well, I guess this is happening."
What does Kaiserath carry? He can still shapeshift.
Do what?
Nothing. Druid problems.
Dragon.
Problem.
Dragon Ball.
Oh yeah, I didn't do a recap. Oh well, I don't care.
Last time on Dragon
Watch
Ball
last episode if
Z.
you want to recap.
Rick.
The one
What?
these videos.
Things didn't go well.
People died.
Well, I mean,
Things went extremely well. What are you talking about?
People
they
died.
went subjectively poorly, depending on who the subject is. But-
Everyone turned into a subject.
Statistic.
We're objects
meme.
now. All of us.
Okay, and you said you were going to do what now? David?
Oh, what?
So
See.
after those two, which member are you going to pick for raising?
It would be Makana.
Wow.
Who isn't here? Okay. All right, you raised Makana.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Bum, 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 bum.
Wait, does that work on aberrants? Yes. Yes, it does.
But no. Makana is suitably upset, probably. But glad that Bendasaur is dead. She probably would want to go and look after her followers.
Or catch them before they get that Buddha statue done.
Use all of her non-existent money.
Wait.
You don't understand.
Where is Brandon?
I don't know.
He didn't even show up to his own funeral.
He's up north with family, so I assume that
Oh.
they've probably dragged him off to go do something suitably family-ish and terrible.
Fair enough.
Sounds unfortunate.
That's gay.
That's so. That's
I think it's like
Hold on,
I forget where it went.
so you're gay. I didn't even think that would be funny.
That was pretty good.
it's just
Anyway.
I am confused.
so Mikata is suitably unhelpful.
I'm punch drunk. Y'all just going to live with it.
And is going to go mourn, I guess. I don't know.
Ooh, my goal, my level. Ooh.
Yes, exactly.
Ooh.
As every adventurer in a single-player campaign knows, you lose 50 experience per level and 10% of your gold.
Is that how it works?
I can work that.
It is if you're in a single-player campaign.
I rolled to kill myself.
Damn.
Fortitude save against suicide.
No, think about that for a second. If you're DM and player,
What do you do now? Well, I'd like to kill myself.
It's the only thing left to do.
Okay, you murder yourself.
okay, me.
Roll to hit.
That would actually be considered a coup de grace because you're willingly making yourself helpless against yourself.
I'm saying you're the DM trying to kill the player, and so you're trying to kill yourself.
Fair enough.
Saddest campaign ever.
Okay, so what do you do after that?
I'm going to go write my report. There's a lot of shit I need to add into it. A lot of shit happened.
See, and there's
Like
nobody
what
else.
afterlife looks like?
Nobody else I can resurrect.
We were wrong.
You could, but you'd have to foot the bill for each one.
How much is it?
Just loot their bodies.
If you're getting raised dead, it'll be 5,000 apiece.
Damn.
Dying isn't cheap.
I could raise dead.
But you're dead.
Yes,
Yeah, true.
if you are rather
Poor
dead.
decision, by the way.
You get a free one. Who do you use it on? Makana.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Ular in the afterlife.
Basically.
Silly JD. Ular doesn't do anything useful.
Ooh.
She took out a flesh golem for you guys.
You know,
Okay.
I
That's
Nothing
neat.
about it.
helped with the
You weren't there long enough to get
the demigod.
Yeah, you did a little bit of damage to him.
You damaged a god.
Yeah.
But it was only half a god, so it had damage. Told you I'm punch drunk.
I guess I could safely say I won't be switching characters during a campaign ever again.
Well, it's you gotta sort of do. Well, you gotta know how long the campaign's gonna be.
Yeah.
Unless you just get tired of the character in that case, you know.
I liked
All
my character. I liked James.
So, are you gonna pay to raise anybody else?
Nope.
I mean, who else is dead?
So let me check my funds.
No, take their gold and use it to resurrection with.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who else is dead? Is it just Ulhar and
Ular, Leroy.
fine, we'll raise Ulhar first.
One more. Oh, I forgot. No, that was it. No, right.
We left Kaiser.
We'll raise Ulhar then. And
Okay.
then Ulhar can raise Leroy. Because she would. Because shiny.
Because shiny.
All right.
And that's when my character will say, "Okay, where the fuck is he?"
Release Molly from the smoke ball.
Who even knows where Molly is?
Who knows?
Somewhere.
She's a good girl.
She is a
She'll
good
be
dog.
back. Next campaign.
Good douche.
Don't tell Leah that. She'll be looking all over the next campaign for her dog.
The dankiest of doogies.
The douchiest of days.
Ew.
All right.
And we got to meet both of Brandon's characters. We got to meet Gibson. We got to meet Lily, and we never got to.
Well,
see-
those were pretty much cameos.
I know, but still.
Leah likes familiars.
Collects them. Little orbs of power.
She collects them in her sack.
I'm sure with that.
If only we all had sacks so spacious.
Whoa.
All right, so everybody is alive. That means everybody gets some sort of epilogue.
You came back to life.
Only to die. What?
Because
Fight me.
I don't think I need to remind you that pretty much the whole party's resolve was we need to kill Bandasura.
Pretty
Mhm.
much.
And now that that's not there, well, okay, Leroy's resolve was always just I'm gonna go get laid, and eventually try to make my way back to Hevereth, which
Bone all the things.
Whichever came first.
It's just that getting laid always came first.
Priorities, you know.
Do that for like months.
Yeah, because no suit
Well,
presented,
well, Loy always comes first.
except for that one NPC
Damn.
intended, and you were like, I'm gonna roll everything but.
Sewage plant, to be fair.
Yeah.
Standards, man. Standards.
Not
Standards.
suitable. Candlelit deer and sewage plant, JD, really?
There wasn't going to be a candlelit dinner. It was, hey, let my friends through the thing and I'll give you a handsy under the desk. That was it. Or whatever else that you
Laura
wanted to
couldn't find
go.
it under the desk.
It was too small.
I'm sorry, I'm not a
You-
bean counter.
You know what? You're right. I should have given you goggles of minute seeing.
Search check the flight.
Just the tip. Just road tip.
Counts as
Just
a.
a tip. There's nothing else but the tip.
It's a diminutive object.
Oh, damn.
We're going with
God, we're good at this.
Why do you think
Yeah,
I'm
this
working in a
looks like a
sewage
bee.
plant?
If I stroked enough, will it become a beanstalk?
Nope, unfortunately not.
No.
You'll get some pollen.
No water? Can't wet it a little bit?
He wishes.
The only water around is sewage water.
Ew.
So let's go. Let's go ahead with these epilogues and just get them out of the fucking way.
You're dead. You're dead.
All right.
So you die. You die.
All right.
We already did.
Shit, I need my dice. Don, can you hand me the purple
My,
container?
my dice are literally right there.
Yeah, but those are your dice.
Roll
Oh
them.
my god. Just roll the fucking dice.
But
Get
DM
your new
dice.
dice.
Fine.
Them all greasy. I think they're gonna get in pizza.
DM grease all
Clean
over
them.
him.
Greasy.
Greasy.
All right. All right. what does Ulhar do with her newfound appreciation and freedom?
Well, that's a good question.
Okay, should I come back to you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What does Amadeus, upon returning to the chalice, finds probably nobody there except for the chalice people?
I imagine it'd be some like weeks before he made it. Finally got over there.
You know what? We'll get back to you because of that reason.
Okay.
All right. Addis,
Mm-hmm.
what would you do after seeing to it that everybody is rezzed?
Probably get the belt.
Goes after the belt.
Yeah, I'd go after the belt.
Alright, you're getting the belt.
All right.
Because
After going and finding the belt, Addis returns it to the woman who hired him. She rewards him in multiple ways.
Give a special treatment.
Later on, remembering that he never did come back to go and see who had moved into his master's tower, he finds that it is vacant.
Right.
So he moves in there.
Hey.
And then dies because he forgot about magical traps.
He would then spend the remainder of his years becoming a high-ranking member of the Arcane Tower and making excellent use of the acquaintances that he made during his adventuring career. By that I mean he continued his relationship with that lady who hired him to be the thing.
Oh, yeah.
And she gave him money.
She showed him just how grateful she was.
And then she stuck it in his butt.
Oh.
Only if he's...
Oh.
Theo, what do you
That's
do?
me. I don't be up to my nose in like paperwork. I mean, I died. I had to come back to life, so I've got to write a form for that. Got to monitor all the stuff that happened just to make sure a proper report gets filed.
So
And
it
it's
takes
gotta
you
be-
takes you 2 months to do the report.
Well, it's gonna take me years. I don't know what you're talking about.
It only takes that long because nobody remembers where the proper paperwork is.
That's correct. And then when I finally funnel it to the correct person, they tell me that they never received it, so I have to do it all over again. Which is why you should always make copies, kids.
Everything in duplicate.
Triplicate. Fuck that.
And notarized.
After an unending amount of paperwork, Theo eventually made his way back to back to Hefereth. He figured he was due for a vacation.
My hands don't work like they used to.
Turns out dying does a couple of things to some nerve endings. He used some of the earnings that he got from slaying a Rakshasa to enjoy a little bit of the high life over in Hefereth before returning to work as a... I don't know, would he continue to outsource for the Chalice, or do you think he would go his own way?
I don't know, actually. Like, it's actually a tough... He has been done well. Like, the Chalice did well in taking, care of anything that needed to be done, so... I think he would still, like, stick to the wide range, though, instead of focusing on one.
Okay. So he goes out and he becomes a mercenary.
Correct.
Let me roll.
I mean, contractor, I think, would be the better term.
Contractor, mercenary, it's all the same.
Not really.
After another brush with death, 2 times was enough for Theo.
Yay. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Well, he was already much older than Addis, so
It's not saying much though, because humans versus elves. I mean, come on.
It's true.
all right. Let's see. Makana did the thing that Brandon said that she was going to do a while back, and
Die.
yeah, he started a guild. She started a guild dedicated to fixing planar anomalies on the prime material plane, and then realized that that would also mean fixing herself, which she did not do because she's a hypocrite.
So isn't that what the chalice does?
Yes, but they're primarily concerned with evil occurrences. They're all right with an angel wandering around.
Yeah, I kind of wonder how trying to make an angel go back home would turn out for.
Hey, you're messing up the weather patterns here. Can you go, please? No. Well, that's everything in the book, boys.
Gain ego points. So craving outside of the chalice is after me.
All right.
You meet again, motherfucker.
Following that, Makana leads her own guild for quite an amount of time. It would be some time before she realized that all of the people under her were essentially zealots, and it was more of a crusade sort of thing than anything else.
What was that?
It makes me giggle.
Wake.
Thank you. I'm dying.
Who needs services?
Right?
Right.
Is Leah coming back? There she is.
How crusade is crusade?
Accidentally knock over a town. Another one bites the dust.
Aw.
One left.
No. Following her, what they perceive to be her orders, some of her followers accidentally knocked down Duro, which it was already knocked down from like episode 2 to begin with, so it wasn't very difficult.
So they toppled off. They toppled over that one windmill that was left.
Yes, basically.
The fiends.
All the same, it branded the entire order as problematic, and nobody ever hired them to do anything.
Get fucked.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Leroy eventually found his way back to Hefereth, where he rejoined his master, Tristan Ephraim, and thanks to an extra set of eyeballs and a certain lack of a shape-shifting baddie who was definitely not on his way to assassinate anybody or anything, managed to quell the political unrest in Hefereth, resulting in the exile of Elf Lord Gelantaron, who, as it turned out, had been plotting against Ephraim and his allies for quite some time.
The one about
The one that sent you into, Gillenshire.
Hey, I still have Ricard's head.
Yes, you do. It smells funny.
Funny is a word. Yes.
um,
I kept that for a very long time.
Due to how aged Ephraim was, Leroy would eventually outlive his master, but would work alongside Ephraim's successor quite nicely, up comfortably until his own demise, many years down the road.
600 years later.
Well, not quite that many years, but you get the gist.
He was a sexy grandpa when he died.
That's debatable.
No, it's not.
Okay,
It's the Roy.
ostensibly.
Extensive.
Well, makeup does exist.
The
so-
coolest grandpa.
He had the circlet.
Yeah, you have the circlet, yes.
The swankiest.
Swag.
Um,
Swag.
All right. So we move now to Amadeus. After finding himself back at the Fort Chalice, people had some questions about the chain.
Mm.
Because they used detective ones.
So the real question is, would Amadeus then submit?
Are they asking for the chain?
Yeah, they want you to give them the chain so that they can put it in the vault. Forever.
What do you do? What would you do for a Klondike
I'm not what you say. He would.
Okay.
bar?
You are
He did
then
it.
eventually cleansed of the taint that the chain left on you.
The taint.
The grundle, the fleshy sunbridge.
I was
The
hoping you
penis
would go
flesh
there.
out. Then he releases Namiya.
What?
He releases Namiya.
Namiya?
Yeah.
What?
Nemia?
Mhm.
Oh,
This campaign
Really?
ain't over.
okay.
Okay.
What?
Are you serious?
Why?
Okay. You are immediately branded a traitor by the prison guard. And Nemia then goes on a warpath through the Fort Chalice, grows a fancy set of horns, a tail, large pair of wings, and cuts people in half on her way to Deer's chambers, where she then makes short work of both Deer and Tannen Vox, and thanks you for releasing her, and basically gives you the finger pistols as she wanders off into the sunset.
Thought I was going to give you some bonuses. That's where you're wrong, kiddo.
I hope she
I'll
knows
get you
doesn't
my
come
chain
back.
back.
You go and get your chain
I
back.
know my chain.
Nemia then makes carves through the continent, making her way to Lorfin, leveling it to the ground. Fortunately, Addis and his lady friend managed to escape, as well as several other members of the Arcane Order. Hold on.
Oh
Chaotic neutral.
Like chaotic evil, am I right?
Theo, seeing that Amadeus had returned, and prior to Nemia's escape, was like, I'm gonna go elsewhere to finish this paperwork.
Yeah. Hey, I got to go get
I've
some.
got so much more paperwork to do.
I go see a
Ultra.
guy about literally anything else.
I saw him.
It was
I saw an ad once.
Nemia ushered in a new age of darkness for the next decade before she was finally stopped by Harold Vox, who turned
No,
out
he died, remember?
$10.
Tannen Vox, his
Sister.
twin sister, died, which bodes well because Harold was already a little bit unhinged, shall we say, and was already zealous enough about his cause. Harold Vox would be the last member of the Chalice to stand against the tide of darkness. The rise long ago having been, unfortunately, meeting a grisly end.
Fuck.
The casualties were numbered in the tens of thousands, and the realm was scarred for several centuries to come.
God, thanks, Amadeus.
God.
It's okay. Nefertiti was fine.
Amadeus, on the other hand, I don't know where to go from this point.
Um,
Oh my god. I swear to God,
So
if you
what is-
killed James.
What happens? What happens if he keeps on the hold of that chain for?
For that decade of terror.
Mhm.
Well, Mimia felt like she owed Amadeus, so against her master's orders, she didn't seek him out and put him down. Because lawful is as lawful does.
Mm.
She made an oath to herself.
She wasn't gonna kill me.
I,
Oh, she was going to save him for last.
Oh, that's why I said instantly.
and I head south.
Okay.
Just keep heading
Into the
south.
desert?
On a horse with no name.
No,
No.
on his camel. Remember?
Aladdin. Thank
Aladdin the camel.
you. It was all for
I
Aladdin.
don't remember it. Thank you very
I
much.
remember.
Amadeus eventually stumbled upon a hidden settlement way down south in the desert.
Mhm.
The people thought him strange, but asked no questions, and therefore spared themselves of his wrath. They revealed to him that they traveled to another continent as a whole by means of very large boats, the likes of which had never been seen in all of whatever the continent's name was.
Chain feeds off like people he kills, right?
Yes. So eventually he would have to make snacks of people. But Amadeus would eventually leave the continent and go be a pest someplace else.
Eh.
He's eventually taken down by other adventurers because he got quite a bounty on his head.
Ken Hulai being one of them.
No. Whereupon he learned that there is an afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
Hey!
The Ninth Circle.
You're no
The
longer
Ninth
there.
Circle. The Eighth Circle.
Well, being that you were more chaotically aligned, you found yourself in the infinite layers of the abyss. If we're being correct here.
I thought that would get him like in the realm of.
Darkness.
It wasn't like the eighth realm, the realm of traders or something like that.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, that's definitely the place for you then. You land yourself in the eighth circle of the nine hells of Beator. Cania, it is called. Where you spend the rest of eternity freezing your driblets off.
That's originally where his family was from.
Until you get eaten by a pit fiend.
Nom, nom, nom. Like a popsicle. He
By
licks you to
by
death.
by that time, I could have probably taken on a pit fiend.
That's what happens when you go into the nether. You get eaten.
Alas.
That, or he could have probably become.
And then a ghast hits your nether portal, and then you're stuck there.
I'd want to
Hey,
hear.
where would Ular travel?
She would probably continue traveling around until she saw her brothers again. And then she'd be like, "Hey, what's up? What'd you guys do?" And then she'd tell them that
Where?
she'd die.
Are her brothers?
They're mostly in the southern continent. Mostly in the southern half of the continent.
Oh, that's so very convenient.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uthar would somehow miss the Age of Darkness and obliviously wander her own way into Hefereth, but only because she was trying to find the orc camps so that she could fight some orcs, but she missed.
She missed the orcs.
Map reading was never one of her strong suits.
What time is it?
Honestly,
It's 46.
It's like super.
pretty accurate.
What did happen to James, by the way?
Yeah, with the
Well, James insisted that the wedding happen over at his family's estate, and so preparations were taking overly long over there because
his dad wouldn't leave the farm.
his dad wouldn't leave the farm, first of all, and Felicity's father was proving almost just as difficult. Because why would I want her out there to have a peasant wedding when we could just have a proper wedding over here?
why would I go out there for a rich man's wedding when I could have a proper wedding here in my living room?
Precisely.
Precisely.
Just ain't a wedding if you can't throw fresh ears of corn at the dearly beloved.
I don't want to drive all the way back home. I want to go to bed.
Got crops to take care of.
Duh.
Meanwhile, all three of them are just shaking their heads like, "Oh God, why does this have to be them?"
You run off to Vegas. But since McDonald winnings never work, you're forced with it.
Felicity managed to convince her father to at least come down and visit the Baxter estate for a little bit. Right about the same time that Nemia made her way up to Lorphin. Oh God, what was her last name? Do you remember Felicity's?
DeFiltis.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
DeFiltis.
Yeah, the DeFiltis family estate was destroyed, as well as all of the people taken in one fell swoop, which had the interesting side effect of reducing the DeFiltis family to commoners because they no longer had any money.
Oh, cool.
Get dunked.
What about Armos? Couldn't he have taken her out?
Hmm?
Mimi?
Yes, but you're greatly misunderstanding the type of person that Armos is. He is not a philanthropist by any means.
Bye, teleport.
The second he saw trouble brewing on the horizon, he was like, I'm just going to put all of my stuff in a bag of holding and go.
I ain't dealing with this.
He's got to go see a guy about a thing.
Gotta do some paperwork.
He was
Over
eventually
there.
contacted by Harold Vox for his services in taking down Nemia, to which he said, here's my bill. And Harold Vox was disgusted enough with him that he attempted to kill Armos, but Armos is a clever dwarf and teleported away.
Probably the only dwarf that Theo would respect.
To the astral sea.
To the astral sea.
Armos was very much of the opinion of this falls under the category of not my fucking problem. Meredith followed him because they've been friends for almost 50 years at this point, and you know, if your home laboratory is going to be destroyed, you might as well at least end up in the backpack of somebody who cares about you.
Backpack.
We still had a wedding, right?
Sort of.
Yes, but only after the Age of Darkness had passed, because we were kind of running for our lives.
So 10 years later.
Yes, 10 years down the road.
Is there a kid?
There is a kid. It was a nymph.
Oh, cool.
The equestrian of legend.
Yes, it would later be found out and revealed that that Felicity was in fact a nymph the whole time, a spirit of beauty, because she was born after her mother's death.
Oh,
You would have noticed that, but I digress.
And Mr. Felix, he took a sabbatical, wherein he was what one might have referred to as a hippie.
For an elf? For a half elf?
Else.
That's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
Wait, a sabbatical for an elf would be like chopping down trees.
He
did he lose his mind?
he did so many drugs.
Oh,
So kind of.
Yeah, pretty much. People would remark after he had returned from said sabbatical that he was never quite the same.
Myth.
Not even once. I think that about covers it for all of our PCs, right?
Probably.
Yeah, pretty much.
For the most part, everybody managed to keep their heads pretty low to the ground during the Age of Darkness.
Interesting. Of course, if he had just stayed with the order.
Oh, wait a second.
Hmm?
That reminds me. You're not eaten by a pit fiend
Oh.
because after her demise, Nemia ends up in that same layer of hell. And she's like, all right, let's go for a round 2, and creates a warpath in the 8th circle of the hells. Creates an uprising of the spirits, some of which she consumed to increase her own power, because question marks.
Why not?
Yeah.
Because demons.
And they got pretty close to taking down Mephistopheles, but were stopped short because pit fiends can cast Wish once per year for free.
Hey.
I'm just in here like watching them.
Nemia's rebellion Nemia and Amadeus's rebellion was cut short, although they would go down in legend in the 8th circle.
Biggest
The
one.
2 stupidest people to ever walk the plane.
Pretty much.
Awesome.
Like, you ever think that Mephistopheles was just messing with him? He's just like, ha ha ha, no.
That does actually fit the character of Mephistopheles. He probably would have let them think that they were making a good, decent amount of headway before just turning around and being like, oh, by the way, here's my full power.
Wish.
By the way, I was using my non-dominant hand this entire time.
It's like,
He just reaches down, takes weights off of his cloven hooves, like, all right,
I am not left-handed.
Oh shit.
well, technically, he would be left-handed based on mythology, but all the same.
Hey, look, all left-hand people are wrong anyway. What?
That's exactly the basis of the myth. Hi, dear. How are you?
So well, I guess that'd be for the Q&A.
JD
But if
sleeps on the
that-
couch tonight.
But it's like,
Speaking of, if that covers all of our PC stuff, do you guys have any more questions or interjections on your characters' behalves?
Nah.
Ooh, for Eleanor.
Yay.
That would be under the Q&A section.
No, I said my character would go look for Eleanor.
Okay.
Like once his master passes.
Yeah. You would eventually find her, but no, after Ephraim passes.
Mhm.
Okay. You managed to find a couple of tracks pointing in her direction, but you never managed to track her down. All right, so moving on to the Q&A, and this is where the audience can ask questions.
Participate.
do we have an audience?
Participation grade.
According to Hangouts, we have one viewer.
I think it's
Brandon.
Probably.
So no.
So we may or may not.
You don't have any
Yeah.
viewers.
All right, so this is the part of the wrap-up where if there's any content of the campaign that you had a question about, such as what would have happened if we had done this, what was the reward for completing this quest in this way, or what was the plot line here, what was the content that you had prepared for this, that, or the other, or
What
just
was Addis even doing there?
Hefrith right off the bat.
Yes.
Okay, so basically, it was a political intrigue plot line wherein you guys had to figure out who was behind half of the stuff. The only problem is that by the time that you had gotten to that place, depending on whether or not you had advanced Bandasaur's plotline to that point, Bandasaur would have disguised himself as Ephraim and taken Ephraim's spot. You would have eventually found Ephraim dead in the closet.
Get dunked.
Where
Oh my
he
God.
lived.
Why in the closet?
Um,
Convenient.
Because he was gay.
no, because Bandasaur would have stuffed him afterward.
Because he found it as a cruel joke.
Or because closets are convenient for hiding bodies.
Yes, they are.
They're a lot cheaper than graves.
I'm sorry, Mama.
Bandasaur's goal
They
there
don't
would have
have
been
closet.
to get enough people in one room that he could complete a fairly complex ritual and create the largest soul gem ever. fuel Kumbhakarna's awakening.
So, first of all, if we had done that,
Yes.
freed the dab.
Alternatively, if you hadn't gotten Bandasaur's plotline that far when you got to Hefereth, it would have basically just been the original idea of go solve the political unrest by figuring out who's behind all of the crazy plotting. Hint, hint, it's Jalantaran, the crooked elf lord who really didn't give a shit whether or not you guys died down in Gillenshire.
Jake Gyllenshire?
Not quite.
Well,
Quillenshire.
Yeah. But he needed elf souls because those are the tastiest, obviously.
Damn straight.
Nuns.
He did, however, need several internal organs of a Rakshasa, so he would have been pretty displeased with Brandon's last gambit there. So if Brandon ever comes back and watches this, good job on that one. But then you would have had to go basically, you basically at that point would have had to go kill Subahu, or follow Bandasaur back to his home plane, and then it becomes a stealth em up where you try not to get noticed by anybody. It would have been very hard because Rakshasas have very good awareness.
Pretty sure I might be the only person that could do anything, because I'm pretty sure invisibility would be pretty much a no-go.
Countered by sea invisibility? Yes, you are correct there, David.
Mm.
So what would have happened if Lemia hadn't been released?
Basically everything that we said except for the Age of Darkness.
So he would have still gone to another comic.
Yeah, probably.
He wouldn't have progressed with the chalice any more than he had.
Oh, you mean if he hadn't gone rogue? Like if he had stayed with the chalice?
Yeah, if he hadn't lost anyone, yeah.
If he had stayed with the chalice, he would have enjoyed several years being courted by Lena, and eventually retired.
He would have made what was it, champion?
Eventually, but Lena was for a long time being tutored by Deer to be his successor, which Harold would not have been too pleased about because he was certain that he was next in line.
Get fucked.
I like that ending better.
and then you and James could have sparred.
You could have retired to the Baxter estate and worked as a farmhand.
James would have lost anyway.
At that point, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that ending better.
Yeah, that's why I was like, are you sure?
No.
Yeah. Anyway,
But
It's all subjective in the end, though.
yeah, pretty much.
What about if we had not been able to kill Bandasaur?
What do you mean?
Like,
Oh, like in the tomb encounter? Yeah.
Yes.
The goal there was for you guys to actually use some of the diplomacy that you had maxed out to try and calm him down. Or basically,
diplomacy.
we didn't realize that that he was a dragon either, so don't kill us.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, but we were waiting. But the second he came in that chamber after been fighting the dragon, we would have jumped him anyway, probably.
That was a toss-up there, you see. Because I wanted to give you guys a chance to achieve some sort of alternate plotline, and Yoshiki had been biding his time until an opportune moment. That wasn't it, mind you. But his cover had been blown at that point, so he decided to go for it. And he did give you guys enough of an opportunity by dealing over 100 points of damage to Bandasaur.
Nice.
Was it possible that he could have killed Bandasaur in that chamber?
Yes.
What would have happened if that happened?
Bandasaur wouldn't have attacked us.
It's like, okay.
Well, we certainly would have had to waste a lot of money bringing people back from the dead.
Yeah. You would have saved an enormous bill on raising people.
Would have had to fight the dragon.
No, the dragon then would have been like, so now we have to get out of here before all of the undead come down on our heads.
Teleport.
Yeah.
Gate.
What happened to Byron?
Byron and his wife made their way to Dratus, where he continued his living as a hunter. And that's pretty much it.
What about
They-
Eleanor?
Byron lived out his years in relative bliss, because not really much anything terrible happened to him.
Yay.
After Byron passed, Monet sold stuff, some of her inventions. Where she lived until she died.
Okay.
Eleanor would have seen the call to battle and was one of the many, many people who raised a hand against Nemia and her warpath. Eleanor eventually proved to be instrumental in taking Nemia down, as she uncreated the Blackguard's steed.
Who was in the house before Addis?
That was actually another one of Bandasaur's pseudonyms. You talked to him that day.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Bandasora. After your master died, he was like, well, I guess I live here now. Or, at the very least, I own this too now.
Who's the dragon that
The dragon...
joked about Leroy having a wonderful time with?
That was one of the members of Ephraim's court.
What?
Yep.
Okay, you guys.
What was Filbert actually?
Filbert was an insane peasant. 1d4 of commoner hit die.
That's underwhelming.
I mean, I guess twice. One of them. Oh, and you had one guy live for. Unfortunately, none of that aging sat from that battle with the time ago. Because that would have made Ajiki stronger than he was.
Yep.
Like a great war. Roxas.
But yeah, no.
Dinner.
Ajiki Filkiati translates in Draconic to wild justice.
That was funny. I thought it translated to disappointment.
It was a title handed down through that particular lineage of bronze dragons. They were essentially like a more chaotic sort of chalice, right? Except without all the organization. It's just one person who passes on the mantle to the next person in the succession.
Like Batman.
Yeah, kind of.
Except he died in a hole.
But actually fairly close to Batman, now that you think about it.
Was he able to pass that down, or did it end with him dying in a hole?
It would have eventually gotten passed on to the next one in line.
So it's not
Um,
blood related, it's just a title.
do you think Ajiki didn't have offspring?
Never know.
Dragons breed like crazy.
No, they don't.
Dragons breed like crazy.
No, they don't. They do not.
They breed though.
They do breed, but not like crazy.
Once every 100 years.
Little weapons.
It's a
Yeah,
long headache.
Ajiki had a couple of whelps out there, one of whom would eventually become the next Wild Justice.
Die in a hole too. As his father before him and his before his.
Well, he would not have been old enough to fight against Nemea, but
Fuck's that.
the purpose of the Wild Justices was basically to track down significant sources of evil that are otherwise difficult for mortals to deal with.
Like wayward pieces.
Like wayward PCs. Fun fact, if the group had gone too far off the deep end, Ajiki would have been like, yeah, you guys are just as twisted as Bendasaur is, and I'm going to kill you, and then Bendasaur.
Good thing you guys didn't swerve off that path too much.
Well, we tried, but
It was a near thing, yes.
out in here. What point?
Probably around the time that like you would have had a couple of sessions to correct it, but if anybody had hit the evil alignment, basically, which is when he would have left, and then if you had continued down that path for too much longer, like if you had actually joined Bendasaur and been like, hey, you're not that bad, then he would have been like, I'm gonna crush you.
Like you crushed Panda. Oh.
I'm gonna wreck it.
Well, see, Ajiki also didn't succeed on any of his saving throws against Bendasaur.
Another one.
Not a one.
Damn.
Bendasaur was like, hey, dragon, you know that 10 in dexterity you have? Here's some reflex saves.
Oh, sure, he uses reflex saves against the dragon, but not against the person that can actually use it.
So.
Fucking.
Well, yeah.
Salt.
Any other questions?
Was it a boy or a girl?
Was what a boy or girl?
Both.
James's
Child of
baby.
prophecy.
Oh, it was a girl because nymphs.
Oh yeah, nymphs are only female.
You don't have a choice.
Abomination of a child.
Got a beautiful kid. Fuck you.
Well, nymphs do start off with like an 18 in appearance and have a racial like +8 to charisma.
Start off.
Have a beautiful fucking baby.
Oh, not a fucking baby, just a baby.
Beautiful baby.
Phrasing.
So shut up on the days.
Kick a taking both of you out.
Shut up, traitor.
Oh,
Try
that didn't even happen. So no.
No.
You ruined
Lucky
it.
for you.
What?
I let you off the hook this time.
Who are you talking to?
You.
Lord James.
Both.
Get fucked.
Get fucked.
Okay, so
Like there's a difference.
any other questions about this or that content?
Yeah. The other path did sound a little. I was just curious as to what Nemea would do once she was let out.
You could have asked that.
Why did you?
Still
Like I
just
said,
doing it.
campaign. It's all subjective at this point, anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
Except you ruin people's idea of things.
How dare you?
It matters very little.
It
Yeah.
matters to me.
Still mad.
Yeah, it matters to me and Leah.
I'm still mad.
Oh wait, for the grammar Nazis, Leah and I.
Oh, fun fact. If you guys had completed the quest line for Addis's lady, she would have eventually given you a weapon designed to kill Rakshasas.
Nice. Could have used it earlier.
Yeah.
It was
We kill the rock. Like, thanks.
But
a,
why would we do something for Addis when he can't complete it on his own?
it was a rapier that had holy and bane evil outsiders.
Here, lucky.
Yeah, literally a weapon that said, "Hey, Rakshasas, get fucked."
Oh, kitty.
So it's musical night.
Just, hey, looking for this? Yeah, I found it. Chucklefucks.
I strangled you with this chain I found.
Just shatters the chain. It's like, well, poopy.
Chain is broke. Now what?
Yeah, DM gives weapon, takes away weapon. What the fuck, DM?
No kitty.
Fantastic weapon that'll solve all of your plotline problems. Thanks.
LOJK.
You reach for the rapier, it's not there.
It's like an inch forward. You're like, damn it.
You're a magnet.
So I learned a valuable lesson. It's better to be there when the campaign starts and halfway through.
Yes. Generally.
That's what character progression.
Yep. It does that, yes.
To be very fair on this was like, well, character wise, he was very poor. Mechanically wise, he was decent. Character wise, he was very poorly handled, I think. But there again, I think it took like 2 weeks to make him.
James had a lot of money now that I think about it.
A lot.
He had a lot of money, yeah.
What money did he have?
He didn't need that much money for any equipment. Hand me my thing, please. Thank you. I'll let you know in just a minute.
Roy had a lot at the end game. He had like 40 something.
40 gold?
40
I have 45,000. Because we took. Well, no, you got a share of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you
James
got.
had 20,000 gold
Wait,
pieces. This was before, like, you guys sold all that stuff or found it.
Anyway. So, yeah.
It's still a lot.
So confirm she did marry you for your money.
Well, after the fact, yeah.
After the fact.
For his money. Yay!
James, you are now steady income.
51,000.
You were shiny.
We'll hold tricks out your gold. You're a dragon, yay! I take gold, yay!
You know what the funny thing is?
Hmm.
If you guys had one player character who had the craft magic arms and armor, you could have created that same rapier that I was talking about for about
We had one at
16,000.
one point. But
You had one at one point, but then
things happened.
yeah, things happened.
Somebody fucked it.
I love the idea of a character that just is there for the sole purpose of dicking the fuck out of the rest of the party.
Right.
Granted, you will always be at level. You will never get past level 1 because of all the XP it takes. But you look at the rest of your party like,
Well, you have to have caster level requirements to put on some enhancements. So you do eventually have to take a break from making stuff so that you can level up a few times.
operator is.
But yeah, provided that the party doesn't mind giving you a significant amount of downtime, which if you guys hadn't thrown your lot in with Bandasora, you could have had exorbitant amounts of downtime.
Wait. How do we throw our thing in with Bandasura?
You remember when he said, "Hey, come to this place," right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he didn't actually think you'd show up.
But he would have killed us.
No,
Wait.
there's a bluff.
Ah, snap.
What call the big bad guy's bluff.
Yeah.
Well, actually, he says he wasn't even the big bad guy this campaign.
I mean, you guys theoretically had the tools that you needed to take him on for a long time now.
Figures.
Like, I had been slowly leveling him as the campaign went on.
Well, I mean, we could have, we've already decided this. That we didn't technically have to end up that point, but it did sort of seem like he was the main bad guy. But there again, that choice had already been made by the time I came on anyway.
Yeah.
So it's really nice.
The ship has sailed.
Right.
But yeah, I do remember at one point somebody mentioned that they were really, really tired of dealing with Bandasor. Like, I had given you guys a couple of plot-related outs. Like, you could have freed Nina at any point in time to embark on a different
Because you
way
wanted
out.
us to. You did not want us to at first, and then you're like, I kind of really want you to do this.
Well, that's part of the reason why I asked that at the end, because I wanted to see what. Of course, it would have been different then.
Yeah, like I mentioned in the chat, if you had freed her then, and after she demolished pretty much the entirety of the chalice, she would have been like, "Hey, do you need anybody killed? I'm really good at killing people." Kind of like Krombopolis Michael. Oh boy, here I go killing again.
Yo.
Yeah, dude. Which one?
But yeah,
I got them both.
there was that. You also could have spent a bit of money hiring the sellsword lords to help you with that once you had freed them.
Because they seem so confident.
I mean, they were.
It does bode. It doesn't bode well when you have to rescue the people that you're hiring to take. But there again.
It's not
Sure,
good for
but they were
business.
4 NPCs that would have been under my control and with unified tactics.
Fair enough. So the biggest question I have is, what am I going to do with Sunday afternoon now?
I don't know, but I have contacted Al. I'm possibly going to be doing something with him.
Al?
Yeah, Alonza.
Team Elf Squad.
Yeah, Team Elf Squad. But we'll see how that goes. It may be something during the weekdays, though. But for the time being, I'm going to be taking a break.
Cool.
So if anybody else wants to DM something, go for it.
I'm not very. I would, but I'm not very good at it.
Then I guess wait for the next installment.
The next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Pretty
It
much.
wouldn't be in the same world, though, is it?
Nope.
I'm not allowed to play it.
I don't know about that.
No, you said the next campaign you do, you want me out of it, so you
Bad
can talk
about it.
to it about me.
Talk to you about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a perk of you being absent from that one, but I don't care that much.
I care.
I need
care
somebody.
about
I need someone to make fun of there. Especially with the shitstorm that I'm brewing.
Don't worry about it. We'll just turn Breaking campaign into slush. Group 1 for life.
We kind of fucked up last session though, a little bit. I got fucking tired of that damn bitch mutt talking, mouthing off.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened?
I punched-
Basically,
Time for a different.
do what?
Are we gonna?
The
Go live?
broadcast is still going.
Well, yeah, the broadcast is still going. Does that conclude everybody's questions about this campaign?
See.
Yeah, I
See,
Okay. Well, I guess, yeah. All right. In that case, thanks for tuning in. If you managed to watch all the episodes, good lord, what kind of strength of champions have you got? But I'll eventually do something else with this channel, probably. So yeah, stay tuned, I guess, or don't. I'm not your parents.
Forging Pass signing off.
Signing off.